The hip-hop writer is a creator, composing understanding words of cultured brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly and uses his ears to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt, executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show at S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the lone low life with the home-sewn garment, the Boricua with the build, Hector Lovo, the true and living God, stepping in score, Sunya Zala, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low. We're on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media, where every entry will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. And as I always say, this show is about my element of hip-hop, what I like to call the writer of art and science on music. So as we enter this 2022, right, the year of victory, right, there's a lot of works that are coming up, a lot of books that I have out to be released this year, a lot of works. But you know what? Start with the gold standard, the filtered reel, essays from the invisible Renaissance. This is the book that details why I call this music of hip-hop since the 2010s the invisible Renaissance, why it's invisible, what's exposed under this veil of sound slop and pop filth, right? And actually goes through the entire gamut of those 10 years from 2010 all the way through 2019. It's definitely the startup, and it'll set up this book that I have coming very soon called The Reel of 2021. Now, this is going to be a book that really sets the standard of covering all the music. No book can contain all the music. I'll miss some things, but there'll be very little that I miss, and everything is going to be in-depth. It's going to be the ultimate science on music book, and it's going to take this invisible Renaissance, this era, into the next decade. It's going to include in what I call a revolutionary analysis of the best musicians and artists in hip-hop music today, bracketed in these never-seen-before system of ciphers that categorize the entire musical universe. So you could look through these categories to look what you love, what these categories mean, and how they overlap with the artist. You know what I mean? And this is not only going to contain the reel of everything from 2021, but it's going to contain everything from 2020. So it's going to be a book that's going to contain everything that really covers this entire decade so far. This very short, but very filled with music decade. That's coming soon. I have another book that's going to come out soon, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. But get these books. These books are the filtered reel. You can go to Amazon, or you can email me at sunyez97@gmail.com, or you could go to my Instagram, IG, Sunyez, Sunez. Get that, you know what I mean? The Twitter's Sunyez7, you know what I mean? You can say some dumb shit to me, or you could DM me with some money, you know what I mean? It is what it is, right? Yo, commentaries. Some quick thoughts. DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio, I've been the host of for so long, almost half the reign, the 14-year reign. We got our episode 300 coming. It's not out yet, but it's really going to give a detail of what this Classic Storm Radio podcast is all about, and my work with it. So that's going to be that's a fun one coming soon. Don't forget to go back to last year's works. You know what I mean? The last episode, 109, was Aguilar. You know what I mean? We had a great build about a really illustrious career that had an illustrious 2020 and 2021. You know, some of the best in his career that really take him to a higher level in his standing as a legendary producer and an ever increasing and ever greater MC. You know what I mean? Yo. And on that side, I think next week I'll premiere the song that I have. I got me a jingle. You know what I'm saying? For my Concentrated Supremacy Martial Arts program. This is a program to introduce you into the martial arts as a martial artist. You know what I mean? Taking you through the principles of Shaolin Kung Fu. through what I learned, and also making you adaptive to any other system that you decide to pick. So email me for that as well for rates. These rates are great. I'm teaching in the New York City area, but I'm also teaching on Zoom. You know what I mean? And Sunez97, SUNEZ97 at gmail.com for that. You know? And I only have one commentary before we get into our guests, man. I got the Doom shirt. I got MF Doom. You know what I'm saying? Remembered Imperfection, MF Doom. You know what I mean? My brother got me this shirt, and I figured I'd wear it right now because I saw something on the internet where Hip Hop DX, right? A place I wrote for, they did this thing where they said, who's the better MC, you know, like who beat who or whatever. I don't know, this versus bullshit. And they said Doom or 50 Cent. And 50 Cent won resoundingly, you know what I'm saying? So it shows the corruption and the failure of the internet. But, you know, what's interesting is this. To pit Doom after he's passed away for, 1 year. This was like the 1 year anniversary of, even though we know that we were told and we found out that he returned to the essence in Halloween, October 31st of last year. We learned about it in New Year's Eve, 2020. So it says a lot that they would pit two very important artists in the dark, what I call the dark ages, the 2000s, and pit 50 Cent versus Doom. And I think it's disrespectful. Here's why I think it's disrespectful. If you do any website, and Hip Hop DX, very old website, they know that they chose not to cover Doom as much as the internet loved Doom. Because they're an internet website, so you see things differently. You know what I mean? So for an internet website to pitch 50 Cent versus Doom is a disrespect to show, well, the pop legions will pick 50 Cent. But let me tell you, in those 2000s, nothing was more impactful. Nothing has been and has shown to be more impactful to the art of MCing than MF Doom. You know, in truth, to me, he was the star of the 2000s. I don't give a shit what you say about Eminem. I don't care what you say about 50 Cent. These are pop stars. If we go back in my DeLorean, my time machine, and we destroy the careers of 50 Cent and Eminem before they ever get to chance, there's really nothing that gets added on. You know what I mean? That what if thing. Remember I used to do that what if segment? You know? And if we took out 50 Cent from the reality of hip hop, you know what we lose? We lose a very good Robert Greene book, The 50th Law. That's a great book, you know what I'm saying? But we don't lose any MC Styles. We don't need another guy who has trouble rhyming, like with his mouth, like saying things. In fact, we got Conway now, so we don't need that. We don't need anything with the list because we have Eric Sermon, we have Cool G Rap, right? We have legends. There's nothing that he innovates, you know what I'm saying? And who's to say? It's probably likely that maybe some of these beats would have just been given to someone else. That Dr. Dre decided talked violently enough and popularly enough. And as far as a guy being swollen rhyming, that's not very innovative. You know what I'm saying? But MF Doom changed the music. You know what I mean? Without him, no, there's a lot of things. And I'm not going to get into it, though. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say it. You know what I mean? We're going to leave it at that. You know what I mean? But I thought it was a disrespect to Doom. Because these magazines, if you go through the Hip Hop DX, mind you, I do my work. You go through the Hip Hop DX annals and do their search engines, there are no MF Doom articles that detail any albums. There are no detailed reviews. There are no interviews. Now, interviews are hard for MF Doom, but let's take that out. There are no detailed exposés analyzing the music as a legend. Just like all this stuff about Jay Dilla. But go back. There are no Jay Dilla articles describing Dilla's reality when he was alive. You know, nobody was on it. Nobody was on it. You know what I mean? And nobody was on Doom. But that's another story. You know what I mean? So, when I have the guest online on the phone, I like to call the guest first. You know what I'm saying? So let's call the guest first while I talk shit about everybody fucking around with MF Doom. And it's my brother's fault because he gave me the MF Doom shirt. You know what I mean? So now I'm writing like a soldier here. You know what I mean? That's why I don't wear like shirts of MCs that I got love for. You know what I'm saying? When I wear shirts of MCs that I got love for, it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? It becomes a problem. But let's see what we got here. All right. I think I had the wrong number there. But
this Wi-Fi call will be charged as per your international plan.
There we go. Charge it. Let's get out of the world here. Let's get out of this COVID bubble here. You know what? This call is going beyond the flat Earth surface, beyond the flat Earth dome, and past Lord Jamal's wavelengths and Wi-Fi. Peace. Do we have Napoleon the Legend on the air?
Peace.
All right. This
you too, man. What's good?
Hey, everything is peace, Napoleon. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ask me what Napoleon the Legend is doing, and I say that because of the very oddball displays by Lord Jamal about the flat Earth, I actually can say with real legitimate response, I have no idea where Napoleon would be if I used Lord Jamal. If I used Lord Jamal cartography, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to find Napoleon the Legend anywhere on this flat Earth, you know what I mean? And the Game of Thrones ice barrier, you know what I mean? That ice barrier shit is funny though, right? Because they got the the ice barrier reminds me of Game of Thrones, don't it shit remind me? Like there's zombies on the other side and shit like that. But since Napoleon came from there and he conquered the zombies, it's great to have you here, Napoleon. I'm in the middle of cataloging one of the greatest careers I've ever heard in my life. You know what I mean? And I waited to call you Napoleon because I like people to hear, artists to hear my intro, because I think that what I am trying to tell the listener is I don't think that we're hearing just one of the greatest MCs of this era. I think that we've gone to the level where we're hearing one of the all-time greats, and he just happens to be during this era from the 2010s on that he has really come into fruition. And when people say, and you see it on Twitter, especially the last couple of years, they go, oh, look, my MC of the year is blah, blah. And my MCs, these are my top 5 MCs. And, by the list of the MCs, you could tell that they have a small collection. You know what I mean? You could tell. You know what I mean? Because it's all target market. It's all like Spotify. If you like this, listen to this. Like, that's their collection. Like, it tells you, it's all algorithmic. There's no diversity. But since 2018 and the floods you've been given, Napoleon, I have to say, there is no MC since 2018 that can actually say they are a rival, absolute candidate for MC of the year these last 4 years, 18, 19, 20, and 21 as yourself. And that I don't want to put a title on it, you know what I'm saying? But it's all time stuff, and that's my intro, my brother. That's my intro.
Yo, man, I'm touched and honored, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I say, man? No words. I just gave y'all this, I create this. I love doing this. I wake up wanting to do this, and just to be able to do it is like, and to get that type of feedback is incredible.
I want to preface this because, there's a couple. It's been a while. I've been working on to get you on the show, and some of the things I've been going through, good and bad. And I got to tell you that the catalog that I've been studying extra from you this, past year, 2021, has really been inspirational. And I get to wait for that on the air. I could tell you that privately, you know what I'm saying? Because we're good brothers. We talk, we have a friendship. But I wanted to let you know how inspirational music is, even after all these years listening to it. And one of the things, and I think it's a theme in the music this year, and it is the inspiration that I continue to get from you is this idea of being able to do what you love as a career, which is so difficult. You know what I mean? And myself as a journalist who has to, there's so many things that I won't do as a journalist that most journalists do. And so it becomes so difficult to get money in this way. So hearing how you do it as an artist is so inspirational. You know what I'm saying? And it just keeps me thinking of new ways and trying to always never give up on trying to innovate a new way to do what you love and make it viable. You know what I mean? And I think that's been a theme, especially when we start with the Hole in My Heart series. It's certainly been a theme to let the world know this particular life that you live. There's a lot of autobio in the 2021 catalog of Napoleon the Legend. You know, I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you know, I'm always trying to be reflective in the music and a lot of events of my life. You know, like I'm caught in a whirlwind of creativity. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't go outside of the water to get gas for air. You know what I'm saying? And every once in a while, when life makes me have to like breathe a little bit and realize where I'm at, I realize that I do have like I've been on a journey and I don't even realize it. And I'm like, damn. So I start kind of cataloging and documenting what I've been through. And it's funny what you told me. It's like I'm getting that from several people. Who's like, man, like, yo, what you're doing is inspirational, and you're doing what you love, and you're living off that. I was talking to the Bad Seed the other day. That was off the record, but he was like, man, you won. Like, you're doing what you love, and you're making a living off this. Like, not realizing that. Sometimes I don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in it, and I'm doing what I'm doing. But it's not an easy thing, man. Like, the system doesn't want us to be able to thrive like that. Like, you know, they'd rather us just be robots and a piece of the system. So in order to be a free electron like that, I mean, yo, man, it's a blessing. I'm trying to put a method and try to catalog it, but at the same time, I'm trying to show the real thing where it's like, yo, man, this is difficult, man. You know what I mean? And well, you could call me a struggle rapper if that's the case, but I don't care. It's my life, man. I'm talking about my life, how it is, good and bad. Sometimes I project, sometimes I embellish like everybody else does, but I also want to be vulnerable on the mic because guys that I love, like Guru and people like that, I always felt that vulnerability and it drew me to them. Even Nas.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely Nas, someone who still has it. And yeah, salute to Bad Seed though. You know what I mean? Brooklyn. You know what I mean? He had like his voice is like Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And you know,
hell yeah.
He's also to me one of the MC of the Year candidates last year because one of the sleeper candidates. People don't know how good Bad Seed has been the last couple of years. You know what I mean? And that you know,
monstrous.
Yeah, and the new shows he's been throwing out too have been fun too. You know what I mean?
Word.
Indeed. So salute to Bad Seed. I'm gonna get him on here eventually too. You know what I mean? But well, you know, when we talk about let's not beat around the bush here, Napoleon. Hole in My Heart. You start with Hole in My Heart. This series with Akhenaten, a lot of people here don't know about him. You know, you told me about how big he was, and I looked, and you can musically hear how big he is, like how good it is. I think there's a special quality in his production. There's almost like he makes everything sound right. You know what I mean? And he makes the sounds very palatable. You know what I mean? And very naturally funky. But tell me how it was making this Hole in the Heart series. You know, you broke it up into 3 albums, getting out there. How does this all work out where he says, yo, we're going to make 3 albums worth? Or, you know what I mean? Like, tell us about this whole thing here.
Right. Well, I met Akhenaten by chance. He's part of a French rap group called I Am. And you got to know with them, they've been at it for 30 years and still at it, still putting out music, still touring, like, you know what I mean, just killing it. So it's like, it's very rare in hip hop to see stuff like that. You know what I mean? And he has an affinity with New York because he used to come to New York, and that's really how he got into the loving hip hop, being around people like, you know, MC Serch, you know, like Houdini, all types of people like that. So I happened to be invited to an I Am concert at Irving Plaza in Manhattan in 2018. And I'm like, I'll go, you know, I'm a fan of that group. I'm a legit fan because I listen to French rap. So it's like these are things I grew up to, just like I grew up to like Illmatic or anything else, 36 Chambers. École du Micro d'Argent is like a classic album in the catalog that I think everybody should listen to. And matter of fact, they got a song with Timbo King and Prodigal Son and Dreddy Kruger on that album, which is classic, called La Saga. So I go to the concert.
Big song, yeah.
I'm just sitting there, and like 5 minutes after the show, they kill it. It's a smash. Like, it's a great concert. And they come out and they start greeting people where I'm at. I didn't realize I was in the VIP section. I didn't even know. I happened to walk there. And one of the dudes, he's from the Comoros Islands. He's a singer in that group. Like, he does shows with them, named Saeed. He's like, yo, are you Napoleon? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, man, I got to introduce you to Akhenaton. So right away, he takes me to Akhenaton. Akhenaton tells me he's honored to meet me. And I'm like, this dude knows me? Like, how? Right? And he's like, because he's a super fan of music. Like, he follows, like hip hop. Like, he follows all the spitters and stuff like that, you know? So it was like that. Me and the dude Saeed stay in touch. And like a year later, I guess they were supposed to go on tour, but because of COVID, the tour got canceled. And it was a big tour. And so he was back to doing music. He invited me on an album he was doing. And so what happened, produced by Just Music, he invited me on a song. And like when he gave me the task to do a song, like I sent it back to him the next morning. And he was like, yo, what the hell, yo, you already done. And he was like, and I bet like 2-3 weeks later, it must have stuck in his head. He's like, yo, man, like the way you work, like I was thinking I want to produce a project, but I don't want to rap because he's a rapper. You know what I'm saying? He's a rapper and producer. He's like, I just want to produce you. You're going to be rapping. And I'm like, that. And so he started sending me beats like every other week, like batches of beats. And he was like, the way he produces, and that's why the sound got a certain quality of it. He's not sampling nothing, or if he samples, like the things get replayed and everything like that. Because over there in that market where he's at, they're very stringent with that type of stuff. So I just started building tracks. And so I started doing tracks. Then he's like, yo, man, you should invite some of your friends on joints. So that's how I got a song with you. I got a song with Gazoo. I got a song with the Naps and Dreads, Nejma, et cetera, Baz on there and everything, Afro, people I hadn't worked with, you know what I'm saying, before either. And we got a whole batch of songs. We had like 24 joints or something like that. And he's like, yo, why don't we just release like three different projects and just, you know, keep the momentum going throughout the year instead of just dropping one thing and then it gets forgotten on the flood of new music that comes out. And, you know, so that was his idea. And, ended up the next year, you know, flying over there to Marseille a few times. I got to meet him. I got to meet the crew. And we shot some videos and, you know, sold out vinyl, did all that. So it was a beautiful thing. Like, for me, it was like meeting like a hero growing up, like somebody that I knew his rhymes by heart. Like, I grew up listening to. And it was just an incredible experience that I couldn't have told you that was going to ever happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just happened from me being at a show and bumping into them.
And, you know, I would think, like, you know, with a producer of that magnitude, you know, Akhenaton, right? That there was a level of comfort that you had rhyming with him. You know what I'm saying? Because to go into all these, and a lot of the songs, there's such a loose structure, you know, like you don't know where the song is going. It doesn't have to have 16 chords, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of freedom in the songs. The more you listen to them, you see the freedom, especially like the title track, Hole in My Heart. And I'll tell you something for the listener, you know, I guess you could answer this probably better than me, Napoleon. But I know, I know that at least I'm one of the first people to really deeply cover you. A lot of people don't know, when I first covered Napoleon, I took my whole family to meet him. You know what I'm saying?
I never forget
It was
that
like a
day,
family
yeah.
trip. Yeah, and it was crazy because everybody was like, "Well, where are we going? Trust me, I'm telling you, you're gonna." I know. This guy is, and they always, ask me like, "Oh, what do you think? Why do I think certain things about artists?" And it's not. I have no idea if they're gonna make money. You know what I mean? My whole projection is if they're gonna be good. And I just knew, but I don't think it was a tough call. But what's interesting, and I'll say this just as a note, and I'm just making this note. The wonderful thing about being a journalist is listening to a song like the title track "Hole in My Heart" in "Hole in My Heart" Part 1, because so many of those points, those moments in the life autobio that you throw in that song, I remember moments in there. You know what I'm saying? I remember
Yeah.
moments in there, and some of our moments coincide. And just to give people like how these moments coincide, how like we're all doing this hip hop together in a lot of ways, like in different means, is like I remember a lot of these decisions to just do only hip hop, where you would discuss this with me. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
remember,
Right.
like, I remember the Faramond show, and I remember going there, and I went with my man Lee, and I was like, "Yo, Lee, trust me, like, we're gonna see Pharaoh. You already know that Pharaoh's incredible. Like, don't fucking get there late, okay? Don't get there late because you're gonna miss my man. You know what I mean?" And it was a big show. It was a big show. It had a different vibe. You know what I mean? Where people were like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like that kid that started, like he had songs. You know what I mean? Like he had a catalog. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it's not even after
Right.
before Napoleon the Flood. You know what I mean? Before
Yeah,
Napoleon the Flood.
that was before Still It's Mixtape. Like that was like when I
Right,
really
right.
started to
Yeah,
turn it
yeah.
up.
Yeah. You know what's interesting
But
off that?
that show gave me a lot of confidence though. That show really was like, yo, man, I'm at SOBs. My first time rocking the SOBs. I'm opening for Pharaoh Monch. I'm backstage. I was backstage. I'm like talking to Evil D, talking to Boogie Blind. Yo, out of nowhere, Peter Rosenberg, who ended up hosting the show, was like, "Yo, Napoleon, what you doing here?" And then he thought for a second. He's like, "Oh, you rocking tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, man, I remember your songs from out in DC and stuff like that." It was a crazy experience
Mm.
just to be and just to be in that. It was a special moment for me, and I'm glad I was able to talk about it in that song and talk about these moments because I look back at it, I'm like, man, my life's like a movie, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I don't even notice, but it's like when I'm going through it, I'm like, damn, this could be a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? And I just throw this in there. I remember KRS-One at SOBs too, a different time, right? And he said this thing that affected me a lot. And he said, you don't notice the career you're having while you're trying to make a career until you look back. That what you were doing to try to make a career, you actually had a career. Because we don't validate our careers unless we can live off them, make money off them, and be easy off them.
Right,
And it never happens ideally. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
that's something that I thought about too when I heard the song "Hole in My Heart." I just thought it was great. And as far as technical stuff, I always like to get into technical stuff. There's this way that you tell your life story in a breathless fashion. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like you never let up though. Like it's all these moments just flashing, and the style of delivery is like a flash moments. You know what I mean? There's very little pause in between anything, and life is like that. You know what I'm saying? Life is like that. It seems to pile on. You know what I mean? And I guess I'm saying that more as
it's almost like it's a chaotic type thing that like it's almost like I'm trying to figure it out as I'm going. You know what I'm saying? But at least I'm going somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like where I might have gotten stuck in a treadmill at a lot of parts of my life, at least I was going somewhere. But like your life threw me hooks and like everybody, man, threw me curveballs and all types of stuff. and I'm just here. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make it. That's why I'm saying, like, I forgot, when the road is dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know where you're going, but I made a way and I kept pushing forward, and it was pieces. It was pieces, step by step, to get to where I'm at today and doing what I'm doing right now.
Indeed. You know what I mean? And I definitely felt these albums differently. It becomes difficult to write about albums like this for myself because now I'm completely biased into it. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember having conversations with you, and I remember, I don't know if I said this to you, but I say this a lot on the air, that when I started the Say Invisible Renaissance was after the Fuck the Radio release party with Spit Gems. And we had that conversation, and you had told me, like, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I told you that by the end of the decade, I just want to be known as like the best writer in this shit. You know what I mean? And
right.
And I egotistically say I think mission accomplished, but if I could, be Rick Sanchez a little bit, you know what I mean? But the funny thing about it is that when I left, I was thinking about everybody that was there, the whole Broken Home, Starving Bee, you, CF was there, Nems was there, AG the Coroner was there, and then I remember I just got like Grief Pedigree from Ka, and Rock Marciano was killing it, so I was like, yo, this is like a renaissance. And then and that's a Hellraiser word, you know what I'm saying? If you come out of the 2000s loving Hellraiser's works. But then I was like, yo, but I'm the only one that was there. I felt like I was the only one that was there, so I said it's like an invisible renaissance. So that's why I started calling it that. Right. And a lot of it was because I was thinking about the conversation we had and what am I going to write about? You know what I mean? But these songs, and of course the album becomes more biased because you gave me the honor to be on it. You know what I'm saying? And do the G-Dep song and put me on with two of the greats, you and Napoleon, though. You know what I'm saying? And here I am, though, giving like 1,000 bars on the shit. You know what I mean? I gave like 3 minutes of talking shit.
No, but I love that. But that's what you mean. That's what you alluded to earlier with the freedom with that project. And this is what I love working with Anathan. It's because he is an MC. He's a true MC. He's like, unbiased speaking. You can't name the top 3 rappers in French hip hop without naming him. He might be number 1, but he can't go be below number 3. So he's a true MC, and he gave me that comfort and gave me that freedom. It's like some producers, I think they overreach sometimes, and it dilutes the product. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know who you're dealing with. With me, I don't really need much. Like, just let me hear the beat. Like, all this stuff is gonna flow out. Like, I never premeditate anymore what I'm gonna do. Like, hardly, unless I'm commissioned to do something. That's different. If I'm asked to do a certain thing. But he trusted me. It's like he already knew what I was about. Like, he knew it. He was just like, yo, let me just get. I see the way this dude works. Let me just give him the thing and just go from there. You know what I'm saying? And then all he was suggesting was like, oh, you got a lot of songs now. Why don't you ask some of your boys or your friends to do some features on it? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And boy, that's why I was like, boom, okay. I had just started the Skyzoo on the phone. Let me get Skyzoo. Why not put Sunez on it with Skyzoo? That's going to be some ill. Like, because I really wanted to honor you also because, yo, let's keep it real. I do have a friendship, a true brotherhood and friendship with you. And it's like, yo, I'm like, yo, man, Sunez is an ill dude. It was kind of a thank you, like, yo, man, hop on this joint right there and shine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was happy to see you get with Aguilar, Sadat. That's when I had the idea of like, okay, you getting on records now? I need to get Sunez on this joint. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Because
yeah. More than just music, the bond of friendship and relationships with people is important to me. That's why, like, I'm gonna seek out Nejma because I love Nejma. I'm gonna seek out Bizarro because that's my brother, and I try to keep it like that too. You know what I mean? Everything doesn't have to be a chess move or a clout chase. I work on a different frequency, man. The way me and the Kenneton work, the more we got to know each other and talked on the phone, it's like I realized me and him have a lot in common. He's like older than me, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of the taste, or even on a human level, we think a lot the same way. So I think that's why the project, I was able to be vulnerable. There's some producers I can't even get that vulnerable because I don't really have that space. It's hard. It's very hard to explain, but it's a feeling thing. You just got to make. Sometimes you're in a room with people, you feel comfortable. Sometimes I'll be in a room with people. Like I'll go to Sirius Radio, or I'm not even gonna say names, right? I go and sit somewhere. I'm not comfortable with these people. I'm cool. I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. But am I relaxed? Nah, I'm hardly relaxed. You know what I'm saying? And so when I did, when I worked with him, I felt that comfort level. That's my brother. He just wants us to be artistic and be ill, and that's all I did, and talk about myself.
Indeed. And some of the great. I just gotta throw out some. I got a Michael Eric Dyson. I can't stop doing that. 48 Flaws of Power. You know what I mean? Machiavellian strategist, crafted a persona, manipulation classes, he graduated with honors, dressed up in illusions. MLK said that power without love is reckless and abusive. Sexually elusive, how he leveraged his position with compromising intel, receipts with you slipping, publicly admired with accolade showers, while his victims stayed voiceless, left with a taste of sour, a trail of blood left behind on his deathbed. This is the kind of stuff that Napoleon's throwing out this year. You know what I mean? Just powerful stuff. Or Unbreakable, where like there's this like almost like this trappy drum rhythm, but then adds a melody in there, so it has like a stuttered double time. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much stuff in these songs. You know what I'm saying? There's so much stuff in these songs. You know what I mean? And I can imagine how it exploded you. One thing I wanted to ask you, and I made the joke about Lord Jamal. You know what I'm saying? And I make many because I like to point out this concept that I think that I felt like we have definitely talked about it in many ways, but on coin two sides. I had talked about this thing about suspension of belief, like we're oppressed people, you know what I'm saying? And we have a suspension of belief in the oppressor, you know what I mean? But when it goes haywire, we don't know how to actually find the truth in things, you know what I mean? We just deny everything, and then we find truths that just seem to. So like, we're not supposed to take things on face value. And for the 5%ers, that's in the lessons. Don't take things on face value. But you can't deny other stuff and say don't take things on face value and then tell me, look, hey, that looks correct. That would be the same thing. You just did it with something else. You know what I mean? And on coin two sides, I thought it was
I think. Sorry.
Please, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I think it becomes a knee-jerk reaction with people with certain things where since you doubt the person or you doubt the way the information was given to you historically, like you still have to use your brain and take things step by step. And it's like, because I think when you're hurt and people have been historically, shitted on for years, it's like you want to have a mystified like truth. That's why a lot of people are drawn to like, religions or pseudo religions and things like that, because they need something to believe in. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes like, who's the most charismatic person? What they're gonna say, and if I tend to like them, I'm gonna nod my head and say, yeah, that's true. And it's like, you gotta make a little bit of an effort. The world is nuanced. The world is not black and white. The world is more nuanced than that. And if you don't want to face the complexities, and you want to make it simple, where it's like, okay, it's just the elites that are eating children, that are pulling all levers, and there's no complexity within that. It's like, then you're just being dumb. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, after some people refuse complexity, so they resort to simple explanations and fantastic, like ridiculous explanations for things.
That's a really good point. And coin two sides really goes through that very gray area of trying to deal with like finding good news sources, making political decisions, or having political opinions that are well informed. And where do you get this information? And where do you get the information about issues on the world? You know what I mean? And that not, even when you pick the source, it still needs some scrutinizing and ever scrutinizing, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely a tough song. And, you know, I found it also a very challenging song to lead off an album with, you know what I mean? Because it really challenges the listener the minute that they press play, you know?
Right. You know, it's just like, I guess I feel like I've let at least the audience that listens to me to because you kind of coddle a certain type of audience. You know what I'm saying? There's some people like Gucci Man has his audience that listens to him. You know, Nems has his audience that listens to him. I got my own audience where I feel like, yo, you know, you're gonna get a Napoleon album. I'm gonna come with it, and I'm really gonna talk about real perspectives and real worldviews, and sometimes I'm gonna go into geopolitics and things like that because I don't care. I'm not doing this to be cool. I'm not doing this to make you think like I'm the cool dude with the freshest kicks on the block. I'm not that dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm just gonna be who you get when you meet me on the street. This is what we're gonna talk about. This is what we're gonna talk about. So I think my listeners are ready for the heavy stuff. You know, sometimes my stuff could be very dense, and I take pride in it. You know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, why not? You know, I remember being in the studio session one time, and I was making a rhyme, and I was writing with me. I don't know, me and somebody like, was it Mike Hands or something? Shout out to him. And I said something about, you know, excommunicate. Me and my ex don't communicate. I rebuke, I rebuke your cake. I said something like that, and then I was like, nah, I can't say that. It's gonna go over people's heads. And he was like, yo, nah, man, fuck that. You know, just say it. What the hell? Like, you know what I mean? You don't gotta worry about, you know, what people understand. You understand what you said, and you making sense. And you know, it kind of opened my mind to be like, yo, man, why should I dumb myself down? I can make songs sometimes that are very light in the topic, but when I wanted to go in, I could just go in, you know, and I'm starting to realize that a lot of things that I say go over people's heads anyways. So what, you know, why care? I'm going to just leave it there for the people who are able to digest it, who want to try to digest it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I could do, man, because look, I'm not going to win the cool competition. I'm not no Rock Marciano type dude or whatever with the, you know, and it's just, I just got a different lifestyle, different worldview. I see the world different, and that's what you're gonna get from me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be formatted to everybody's brain. You know what I'm saying? Or to the average hip hop head brain, which seems to be getting dumber and dumber as the years go. I mean, I think I could easily say that, like, that the game is dumbed down like a lot. Like I feel like rappers that were in the 20s that we were listening to growing up, like even the Pacs and everything like that. They're sounding way smarter than some of these rappers right now that are in the late 30s and the 40s. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know,
it's
something.
It's like, yo,
could we say
growing up or what?
Right. You know, and could we say that even in this underground, like where the music's good, that when people find their market and success, they dilute their own work, you know, on their own, like willingly, you know, to you know, get their niche market, you know, even in these underground ciphers, you know what I mean? It seems to be the trend too.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, the thing is, and at the underground, there's also an aesthetic that I'm seeing where it's like it does sound good and the music is good, but like even behind that, the substance still, is it there? Is it not there? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find that real substance or even that emotional connection where it's like, yeah, man, you know what I mean? Like for me, a lot of times, but like I said, I'm generalizing heavily. I'm probably talking about people that are most talked about in the underground. You know what I mean? But I just feel like that's the void I want to feel because I'm not really getting that from hip hop that much anymore. And I want that. It's just like, yo, like, let me talk about your life. Like, okay, we talked about our past. and how the dumb stuff we do. What are you doing now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of y'all working at Walgreens, y'all not talking about that. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Right.
and it's just like, and I'm not saying that to this. It might sound funny, but it's in a way it's not funny because it's just like, yo, man, like, why we gotta follow these codes that are not even ours? That's just industry imposed these codes on y'all. you guys are still following them. I'm the underground. Y'all supposed to be underground. Underground's supposed to be like, you don't even care about all that because you're just doing it because that's how you feel, and you got your little niche market, and you can live off that. So you're happy. But I'm really living that. I'm living that. Yeah, this is my niche market. This is how I'm gonna attack it. You know.
Mm-hmm. You know, it leads me to the other song, Climbing Mountains, because you said higher elevation cause vertigo sometimes. That fire birthing you can end up burning you sometimes. And it led me to think about the Western world through its capitalist society doesn't seem to allow a choice of when those climbing mountains become unnecessary. You know what I mean? As is like if you could take like, oh, I made this righteous valley. Can I stay on this righteous valley? And you know, the way it works, we can't. You know, and
Yeah.
how do we keep from getting burnt then? You know what I mean? If we always have to keep doing something else.
Well, capitalism is a big lie, anyways, because all it is like a bunch of bubbles that burst, and you see even with this with this pandemic or whatever is going on, how fragile the whole system is, and it's like it could crumble in a matter of weeks, and the only thing that's lifting it up is all the spending they spend on military. That's the reason why America is America. So it's like we are constantly, like you arguably, you're a top tier writer, right? And you know, I'm biased. You're arguably the best out there. And it's like capitalism is going to say you're not because, oh, you don't have the numbers. Like, no, who imposed that? They're like, did Michelangelo have numbers he had to hit? Did Da Vinci have numbers he had to hit? Like, you know what I'm saying? In the Renaissance back then, it's like who imposes these rules? But now we're playing by their rules, and we don't even have any imagination enough to think beyond that. When it's like, yo, we're humans beyond all that crap that you see over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, This is a system, and all you're doing, we're talking about the poverty, but we're not even diagnosing the real problem. Maybe it's not an artist's job to do it, but I'm saying you guys are misdiagnosing the problem. The problem is the system that it's not natural to us, and it's just making a few people rich. So the thing with the underground, what you say they do, what I see a lot of these dudes, they get underground, they start getting a little light, and then it feels like they throw up the middle finger to all of us, to the rest of us. Like, look, I'm
That's a
on,
good point.
you guys are sweating me in my inbox. You guys are sweating me in my inbox, or you guys can't sit with us, or why y'all sweating me?
Right.
It's like, you changed in a matter of a few weeks, dude. That's who you really were the whole time. You're a cornball. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. What type? But you know what? That's the values they imposed on you. So you're just being a good boy to the system because we are proud to have a fascist mindset because we all fast. That's what hip hop became. You know, we appropriated values out of survival that weren't really ours, and that probably wasn't the best system. But it's a lack of imagination. That's through a lack of imagination.
I definitely see that. You know what I mean? It reminds me of the song "The People Always Come First." You know what I mean? That concept that you have. You know what I mean? And that you built on. You know what I mean? And you know that phrase that you had said there. There's also something you said. Here it was. It was in Underdogs where you said, "When you say I am, it means you exist, and that you gave yourself the means to resist despite the scenes in the script." You know, and it's little things like that Napoleon says in these albums that are so inspirational because they're so layered. It's like I say this to you all the time, but like it seems like you internally rhyme very like naturally, like you wake up internally rhyming. You know what I mean? Like everything is always so layered. You know what I mean? And there's such a melody that goes into it that it's almost hypnotic when you start to really get into a groove. You know, you have one of the best. You know, Napoleon has one of the best pocket grooves. You know, where it gets into the pocket very easily, very quickly, and then it can play in the pocket and do a lot of things. And I think people were taking that for granted. And I think one of the things, and we'll talk about it later, specifically her, that gets to show us how much you manipulate that pocket is really working with Nejma, because you guys do it so overtly that you're like, wow, this guy, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you're dunking all the time, and we get spoiled by the dunk, you know what I mean? And that's really, with Nejma, you kind of notice it, you know what I mean? You notice it because it's such a contrast between you two. But anyway, there's so much to talk about with these albums, you know? When you broke them up into 1, 2, and 3, what makes you put the songs into their formats? Like, what were you looking for and say, these work well as 1, these work well as 2, these work well as 3?
To be honest, that was Akhenaton's work, because he's the one that was like that proposed them to me, and I have yet to ask him like what made. That's a question I would like to ask him. To be honest with you, but when I heard it, I'm like, yo, it works. It makes sense. I'm like, why? What? I wonder the same thing as you when I ask myself. But that's Akhenaton's like years of like putting together projects, and just one day that's the question I'm gonna ask him. But I can't give myself credit for that because I had nothing to do with that.
You know, I can only assume, but like the general themes of what you were dealing with, they seem that if anyone heard 3 or 2 and didn't hear 1, or whichever one, they only heard one of them, they could hear 3 or 2 first and kind of understand the series. And that's what I would guess at, you know what I mean? Because the types of songs, the autobios, you know, the battle bar bombing, you know, the insightful songs, they're all spread out in such a way that's very unique, you know what I mean? But there's so much stuff here, you know what I mean? Like the end of volume 2, the part 2, where if the shoe fits, you've got this chorus that speaks to the theme of balance, you know, achieving equality as we build on it, and, you know, as we build on it in Supreme Math, over the duality of things from the choices to reality, you know what I mean? And you said rap stars were our mentors. We wanted a life. Was only right to blow our names up at shining lights. But hindsight, the purpose wasn't there. You know, in this whole journey, Napoleon, because of the records you've made, like my collection is almost at 500 songs, my Napoleon, the Legend collection. So in this journey, when did the purpose come? Or is it something like the way the Sufis say enlightenment is, where it's like you're enlightened all the time, like it's slowly every day, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the purpose is always there. Like if it's like the spark is there, like the guiding spark that's like, yo, I want to rap, I want to do this, like I want to come to New York, like what I explained in the Hole in My Heart, the song. I want to make it happen and to try this music out. But as you do it, like that spark grows, and then it becomes even more evident. Like, and it got to a point, especially when I got on the road, like you said, those years of 2018, 2019, and on. I realized, damn, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I'm not. This is invigorating me. This is not like I had times before when I was doing music and I had not really mastered what I was doing, where it was so tough. It was like, dang, like, you know, I might suffer from writer's block, or I might not like anything I'm doing, and it's giving me a headache. You know, I've had headaches trying to do songs. Like, that's long gone. That's history. Like, this is pleasurable now. So I know I'm in the purpose. I know I'm doing the right thing. And let me give another example through I Am with the Akhenaton's group is when I saw them. Like, these guys are in their 50s. Like, Emotep, one of their producers, I think is probably in his early 60s. And they finished rocking the show. They're greeting the show is sold out. They're doing music. And I'm like, wow, you could end up like this with hip hop too. You know, kind of like the KRS thing. Because that KRS show at SOBs, I think I was there too, when he was like, yo, you could do this hip hop if you do it well. That also inspired me. But when I saw them also with the years they've been in hip hop and the way they're doing it, I'm like, wow, that's purpose right there. I see it clear, like you could do it, because sometimes going around New York, you see so many different rappers that, some of them are not doing so well. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. There's a lot of things, and I've seen these guys like still have the love they seem to have from day one, and doing it professionally. Like they weren't backstage like trying to get high, get drunk. They were like greeting fans, going back to the hotel to the next room. I'm like, yo, these guys are professionals, man. Like, this is how you got to do this. And that kind of inspired me. And I feel like people are doing it for the wrong reasons, man. Like I said, I'm not trying to be cool, so I don't care about that. So I could write a song about something that might have hurt me. I could write a song about something different. Like, some of these rappers want to write that song, but they can't even allow themselves to do it because they're still concerned about what the person on the lobby is going to think of them, their homie, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. I don't have that. I don't have that constraint because I know why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for a listener that I've never met before, that I don't even know where that person is, but that person's going through something, and boom, they might throw it on. Or they might be stuck in a moment in time, and I was like, "Yo, I've been there. Boom, this is what I did, or this is what I went through, or this is how I felt." And I think that's what music is, man. I'm communicating something, and that's what makes me do it the way I do it, because I feel driven to do it. There's purpose there. At times when I did it, when there was no purpose, it was difficult. I didn't know I was trying to be somebody I wasn't sometimes, or I didn't know who I was myself. And that affects the music. You can't be at your optimal level. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I kind of see who I am. I know what I stand for. When I do a song like The People Come First, it's not because I'm some sort of like Che Guevara dude. No, it's because I'm trying to remind myself. I'm leaving a catalog with it. If I get lost, I could come back to this song and remind myself, people come first. Because sometimes you can forget, man. You get to crossroads where, you might have a choice to make, and I just want to remember, like, these are my values. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm about. And I think a lot of rap, that's why you get a lot of rappers sounding like other rappers, because you don't even know who you are, dude. That's what it is. And it's just like, maybe try to go beyond that, and maybe your true music will come out. I'm trying to be as true, and I'm still trying to like make sure the truest music from my soul is coming out, and that's why I strive for that. It's not easy because you're influenced by society, you're influenced by your friends, you're influenced by a lot of things. But you see outside where people are like, yo, you're not popping if you do this and that. That's why I talk about the conversation with Backseat when he's like, yo, man, you won, you succeeded. He's like, yo, like a lot of people are not able to put this together. And you've been able to put it together at your level and live off this and pay your rent and do this and that, which I do, which I have been. And it's like, yo, man, I'm not trying to sell y'all an image. I don't have to rent a car and go on Instagram just to validate my skills. To be like, look, I'm doing well, man. Like, I got a Mercedes Benz. I don't have to do that. Like, if you catch me, and you see how I live. You see what I'm doing, man. You know what I mean? It's evident.
Absolutely. You had the song WNDL, and you were talking, going through hip hop history, things that affected you, songs that affected you, artists that affected you, and historical moments with those artists. But I was thinking, like, as an MC all these years, right? Does hip hop music get listened to like that? Does not. You know what I'm saying? Like today's hip hop music. Because obviously, if you're asking me, you already know that I think that there's tons of great music. But, do you listen to music? Like, are you listening to today's music like that? Or is it just people that you know?
Am I listening to a wide range of music?
Yeah, like, does the hip hop music inspire you like that? Because most artists, it doesn't anymore. Like they're listening to other genres. They're really just focusing on what they do.
Yeah, hardly, man. Like I try. I try and I catch glimpses, and it's true. I have my biases. Like
Right.
if certain artists that I know come with it, I'm gonna press play. But it's like time goes so fast, and it seems like time goes faster. You don't want to waste like a verse to hear somebody just regurgitate the same thing or whatever. So I'm gonna like look for certain cats, but I will venture out because I want to make sure I'm still tapped in. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I don't want to be also in an totally isolated bubble where I just want to make sure I'm up to date and I'm competitive because it's still blood sport.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the same time, I do get inspiration from other type of genres, and in a way, I channel it through the hip hop that I make because I like other types of music, and because like I said, other artists, I feel like you're not shackled by like hip hop. It gets generic when you stop like trying to advance it. When you just like, okay, I could do this, I could do that. When you start getting too formulaic with, and it's easy to get formulaic with it when you start getting good at it. When you realize, yo, like I could put a metaphor here. You could put any words you want anywhere, any flow, anything. You could start getting very formulaic. I'm trying to be like, yo, let me make sure I always have my heart in it. That's why I called it the hole in my heart. Let me make sure there's heart in this music because sometimes I feel like, okay, this song is good. I really think it's good. It sounds good, but I don't feel the heart, or I don't feel that like the artist. Like, who are you? I don't even know who you are, or I don't believe you, or it's not really authentic. Where it's like I never had to doubt. You know, when I heard ODB say, first thing first, man, you fucking with the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I never had to doubt that feeling that he gave me, and that's why I try to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? It's just like make sure it's authentic, make sure it's come from a real place, make sure I respect what hip hop, the guidelines of hip hop, but I'm not shackled by it. Because then I feel like it gets corny. Then I start copycatting everybody that is making any type of noise.
Indeed, I see that. You know, and what was the song I was gonna say? I thought that when it comes down to the series, I thought that Finding Bliss, if I could, I don't know if it's the only song, but it was one of the songs I could say really signifies the whole series. You know what I mean? Because you do this thing where you have this micro to macro versing that is really dope. You know what I mean? Where a lot of times you'll talk about something personal and then relate it to how it relates to the whole entire scheme of reality. You know what I mean? As a commentary or as a point of notice or like where it rests in the world. And I think that's why a lot of times the politics that you share as far as like ideas, it really it comes off real sensible, real insightful. You know what I mean? And not just, being pseudo left or anything like that. You know what I mean? But
Right.
Then there's Eternal Winner, the wordplay dive, stream of conscious, you know what I mean? Just exceed the quota, meet the goat in the front, the pagoda. When cops say you free to go, that's when you look over your shoulder, creep holder, like Malik Yoba used to teach Yoda in the yoga stance, holding the 7-leaf clover. Oh man, it's just too much stuff here. There's so much in this Hole in My Heart series. It's really a great trilogy. And it's a trilogy that goes beyond just like, this is just the 3 things that I made with this beat maker. You know what I mean? Because a lot of albums now, and they could be great. That's absolute. A lot of works now, when they're with people, they have more of a jazz feel. They're jazz sessions of a moment. They don't have like a real structure as a unified field. You know what I mean? And the Hole in My Heart series does, though. You know what I mean? So I think that's harder to do, But
Appreciate that, man.
yeah, I think it's hard to do. But I was alluding to it. There are moments of brilliance on these Hole in My Heart series with this duo. For the listener, 2021, if you look at things that signify it, we continue to get large catalogs from great MCs like Napoleon. We get chunks like Supreme Cerebral. There's a whole bunch of people, you know what I mean, that released a lot of great stuff, you know what I mean? Killer Priest, what have you, right? and a lot of works, you know. But 2021 was one of the unique things of 2021 was the year of duos. We get a lot of albums where guys have a unique producer, but you don't get a lot of years where people team up with somebody else, another MC, and get so many of them that are really extraordinary. So you had, I'm just trying to put this in context, you know what I mean? You have your normal duos that are always a duo and they're great, like Billy and Mammy Rebellion, you know what I mean? But you had Kev Brown and Jay Cyanide do an album. You had FU and Spit Gems become Ribs, Rikers Island Boxing School. You had King Arthur and Zagnif Nori, right? Do Killer's Manual. You had Supreme Cerebral and Elo Kush. And they did the Clark Connoisseurs again. Neek and Large Pro did Extra Exotic. And I named that one because Large Pro rhymed on the whole thing. So it counts. It's two MCs. Ransom and Rome Streets, the coup de grace, right? Which was great. And then Rashid Chappelle with XP doing the XP the Marksman doing the RX album. So a lot of strong works from great MCs uniting, and some of them surprising us. But if I had to really be honest, I'd say the synergy between you and Nejma Nefertiti is abnormal. That's, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff, like when I play it, like a lot of times when I train my students in the martial arts, I play music, and when the songs with you and Nejma come on, they bug out because you guys finish each other's or go bar after bar. And sometimes there were some songs you do that aren't bar after bar. You're going phrase after phrase. I mean, how the hell is this done? I know I'm asking for Wu-Tang secrets here. You know what I mean? But some of these songs are amazing. You know what I mean?
Nah, you know the thing about me and Nejma is, like you said, like that chemistry we have on records is not normal, and we realized that the first song we ever did was Encrypted Wisdom on Still This Mixtape 3, and if you go back to that was a banger, and that was like, and that was so easy to do. It was just like 1, 2, 3. And then we already knew there was something, and then we kept talking because she kept, I kept inviting her, and she kept inviting me on her stuff. Now all our features are good, and I'm like, yo, let's do something together that I mostly produce. And it's like she gets it, you know what I mean? It's like I can't just do that with any other rapper. Like I'll have an idea. Like No Limit, when I was like, y'all got an idea. We're gonna pull it off. We're gonna do this like this, that. It's like I could tell her, just do this and do that, and I do this, I do that, and then like we'll shuffle it together. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's not hard. I don't have to tell her, like I know like if I did that with another rapper, I would have to be like, yo, you're a little late here. Or, make sure you come with the same intensity or lower intensity hit, like where we never have to like correct each other. You understand what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Meaning that it's like if I throw an alley-oop, she's gonna if I throw it a pass on the baseline, she's gonna hit that 3. It's like that.
It's crazy
and
because
that's why I knew we would have to work together.
You know what's crazy to me is that I think Nejma Nefertiti was a very good MC in her career coming up. And once she started to rhyme with you, I'm just saying, Napoleon, she's exploded. And she's an ultimate B-girl. Like everything is live. She's hungry. Her Instagram is hungry. Right. Her posts are hungry. Her songs are hungry. Everything is hungry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every time I see a post on Instagram, though, it shocks me from the drollness of just scrolling. You know what I mean? Her intensity is extreme, you know what I mean? And it's not an extreme, like it never seems angry. She's really having fun with this every single minute, and sometimes, for myself, I've been doing this hip hop stuff so long that, I very, very rarely surprised, or like, it gets harder to get excited about it. You know what I'm saying? And she just has that, you know what I mean? And it's beautiful to watch because she hit a prime the minute she started rhyming with you, and it's amazing. And you mentioned that No Limit song. You got to listen to that No Limit song because it's like cold crush routining. You know what I mean? It's so much fun. I would love to see that song live. You two live doing that. You know what I mean? And
Oh man, I would love to perform that.
you guys don't
whole
perform
album
that
live,
song,
yeah,
and you
bro.
guys are together though. You deserve tomatoes thrown at you because I need to see that. You know what I mean?
Nah, that song's a definite. That
Oh
song is so
man,
fun.
I mean
Like,
that's
and the thing with her, it makes it fun. The thing I think with Nesma, it was like, yo, man, we used to talk because we met through doing hip hop workshop with the kids in certain schools in the Bronx and Brooklyn, Rikers Island and stuff like that. And so I knew she was dope. She knew I was dope, but we never like we didn't meet like we were gonna work together. But then when we did that one song, and then like she used to tell me, and I mean I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind me telling her that, but she used to go through her stuff as an artist. Like we all do go through stuff, right?
mm-hmm.
And I told her, man, don't as a female, which is a hard terrain to maneuver in this rap game,
Absolutely,
which is very male dominated, like the rest of society. Like, yo, you could do your own thing. Just do your own thing. Don't get with that producer that's telling you this and you got to do this, trying to put you under the wings and trying to put a wig on you, trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being funny. That's not what happened, but I'm just saying it's like, and I think once she like took her own power, like she was gonna be unstoppable. And I told her like, and I could tell when she was getting on songs with me, she would go extra hard. I'm like, damn, every song she's trying to get on, I put her on, she's like trying to murder me. So, and I sensed that. I'm like, she's hungry, and I'm like, and I never wanted to be like, yo, like the typical, like, yo, that rapper's under my wing. I don't believe in that stuff, man. I'm be like, yo, we just some ill people. Let's just come together and just smash on them like we have fun doing. And and we always have fun doing tracks together, any type of track. And like I said, I never have to coach her. She never has to coach me. If I got an idea, she's going to execute it. If she got an idea, she tells me to do it, I'm going to execute it. Oh, I need you to do a hook like this, or I need you to do that. And man, that's rare, man. I realized that, damn, we're lucky. Like, how can we just meet like that by chance and you be like so dope and because that level of technique, not a lot of rappers have that level of technique. It's intrinsic, like she can understand it. Like you take that word and you can flip it a certain way and you can flip it 100 different ways. But not a lot of rappers could do that. There's some rappers that have good lines, they have good bars, they have good voices, but the technique level, it's like I could only do songs like that with her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like other rappers, I would have to teach them or go through the whole process of how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, she has all the gifts, all the tools, and the dexterity. She has a unique tone. Her pitch is so high. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. It's a genuinely female voice that even when she's aggressive, it sounds female, which is very hard to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? In rap, and it always sounds great. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it so good when you guys go back and forth because the tones change. And so it makes it exciting. You know what I'm saying? It makes it exciting. The tones keep changing.
Yeah, we have that contrast, man. That contrast sounds good, and the wordplay is always there. And it's like I said, and it's fun. Like that's the thing. Like it would if it wasn't fun to do, like why do it? I used to always like Artifacts when I used to hear Tame One and Elder Sensei go back and forth because you could just feel like they had some sort of chemistry. And like, I'm just glad I don't hear that often. I just love when MCs do that. Raekwon, Ghostface, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the whole, for the listeners, this whole album is gem. I have so many lyrics that I wrote down here. Dice Seamoss with the word dexterity, athletics. You know what I mean? T'Challa fighting Allergen, the paladin at the helm. Ridiculous stuff here. Lemongrass Duck, you know what I mean? It's what I notice about certain songs, like even when you guys rhyme together, when they're battle bars like Lemongrass Duck, it has a different kind of anger, like real anger. Like you guys are really angry about it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, like the anger against MCs, against whack MCs is usually, we're so used to it, but it felt like you guys are really pissed off about it. Like, how dare you be in here? You know what I mean? And it's hard to get that energy where it feels like, wow, that's just like really bothering them. Like this is really, it's a real issue for them. Like something that they're upset about. You know what I mean? That's so hard to get across. You gotta listen to the song though, you know, to get that part. You know what I mean? You know, and tell me about working with Bruja. You know, because I talked about it a lot with Nejma, and you know, Bruja is someone that, you know, I definitely will build with. And there's so much history. You know what I'm saying? There's so much history with her.
Right.
But tell me about working with her, because she's really influential to Nejma's career, but she's also influential to so many other like parts of hip hop where just Boricuas, you know what I mean? Spoken word,
Right.
New Rican, you know, there's so many things that she's influential to, you know, and you guys made some really unique songs with her.
Right. La Bruja, man, love La Bruja. Like I met her through Nejma, actually at a video shoot. Me and B-Bass was directing the video shoot for Nejma, and she showed up, and we just instantly like clicked, you know what I'm saying, and built a friendship. So I already knew, like me and her, we had to do some joints, and first off, like just, and she's known for her spoken word, but I feel like she's such a like ill MC. Like I've seen her do stuff like in these open mics or whatever she be hosting, where it's like she just be flowing over the beat and the flow is just bananas, yo, and it's coming out so natural. It's like, and I keep telling her like, man, like it's just impressive, you know. And I've been to one of them open mics with her, like, and she just kills it, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was honored to like invite her, you know, on that song "Strange Love," and like, you know, we already had Nejma had her verse, I had mine, so I had the joint laid out, and you know, she went and started penning and stuff, and you know, she went off the energy, because the energy I had on the joint was, like you said, it was a little bit angry and crazy, and she just fed off that. But the artist in her was like, yo, all right, Nejma got an ill hook, but let me add something to it. And she just started riffing off the hook and like doing harmonies over like Nejma's raps. And you know, and I had to find a way, there were so many voices, I had to find a way to mix that down so it made sense. But it's just to see the greatness that she got. And then in the same session, we're doing Buddhist porn on the world change, and she's like doing like yoga, like Indian meditation hymns and stuff like that on the hook.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what type of mind comes up with this stuff? Like, and then at the end, she's like singing real mantras with a low voice. You know what I mean? She almost sounds like a man. Like she could get her voice to go so high and so low. Like she's just an incredible artist. You know what I'm saying? Like. That's all I could say. Like it blows my mind. Like what she could
great to hear that combination. You know what I'm saying? And then you had, you know, you know, as always, Napoleon, you have so much work. We talk about it so much though, so I don't want to miss out on the works though, because the last time we built, I missed one of the albums that I really loved in your 2020 batch, and I was kicking myself when I went on the train. You know what I mean? But you did the dim mock. You know what I mean? Something that, you know, all of us martial artists dream of doing though, the dim mock, you know what I mean? The death touch, you know what I mean? But
right.
Tell me about making that record, you know, and working with that producer Deuce, right? Dust.
Yeah, so like Dust, he's one of them dudes that's kind of like what I talk about, like friendships and relationships, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say we're that close, we don't talk that much, but we met by chance in 2010 at Rock the Bells. Like I was just walking through the crowd, and I don't know why we started talking. He said he produced. I said I was a rapper, and you know, we exchanged information, and he sent me beats, and he ended up producing a few beats on my first album, Awakening, including the notable Wise Men featuring the late great Sean Price, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
So me and him had done work, but we hadn't done work for years. And his brother, who I'm still in touch with, was like, yo, man, you need to do something with us. And I'm like, yo, during quarantine time last year, when COVID hit, like everybody and their mama was like, yo, let's work. And that's, so I was working on mad projects. And I was like, I told him, man, I'm working on too many projects, but he was like very insistent. I'm like, you know what? Tell him to send me some beats, and I'm just going to start just building track by track. So I started building the joints, and I was like, man, I don't want this to be like a generic album, because I do a lot of music. And like, when you do a lot of music like me, it's like you've been listening to hip hop, it's hard to impress yourself. Or it's hard sometimes to get a feeling. Sometimes if you don't catch yourself, you just like clocking in. Like, okay, this is the beat. Like, I'm going to write something ill, right? And you clocking in. And I try to not do that. You know what I'm saying? I try to really be present and make every single verse, every single line special, every single take special. So I was like, as I was building it, I was like, you know what? I love that movie, Bloodsport. You know how I did concepts with animes. I did Dragon Ball. I did Saint Seiya. I did Fist of the North Star. I'm like, why don't I do the same thing, but around like a B movie like Bloodsport, which to me is a classic. I'm a big Van Damme fan from back in the day.
Indeed.
And so, because I'm like, the beats kind of fit to this. So that's when I started doing this song like You Are Next, where you got the Bolo Yang saying You Are Next in the movie, and I added that in the beat so it could be the hook. And I started adding clips from the movie just to give it another dimension, because I was like, yo, if I didn't do that, like, it was just going to be just another project. So, and so it's just me, like, just trying to like, and that movie is a little bit cheesy. I mean, it's really cheesy if you look at it now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I just wanted to catch that aesthetic too, you know what I'm saying? And Gus has this very gritty sound, and it's oriental sometimes in his beats, and kind of dark. And I just started, I don't know why my head like put them together, like Bloodsport, then my Van Damme Dust. I don't know why I put it together, but I tried to make it work.
Indeed, definitely one of the most, one of the more fun albums this year I heard. And a lot of anthemic battle bars on this, a lot of athletics, that's how I took it. Quotables, the syllabic structure on 20 steps, you know what I mean? The cleverness on, Budokai, you know what I mean? Crazy, stretch out a molecule, propel my body through the sky, you know what I mean? A lot of lines, you know what I mean? A great work. I can't even get into the whole detail of it, but there are some really epic verses like Redemption. That was a real, tour de force, that song, you know what I mean? That really, was amazing to end the album with that song, you know what I mean? Just another great work. But the last album that you released in 2021 was very interesting to me too. The world has changed, and you got it. That one was produced by Amerigo Gazaway, right? And Gazaway, right? And what was interesting to me was I love seeing you do a lot of songs with A1, who's one of my favorite MCs. You know what I mean? Tell me about working with A1 on that.
Yo, A1, like, my boy in Brooklyn, shout out to Bless, named Soof. He put me on to him. He was like, yo, you should check out his Netflix documentary, Underdog.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. I checked it out. And I was like, oh, damn, like, it's kind of ill. And, they were in Brooklyn when they shot it and everything like that. And I just got the idea to hit him up. And I was like, yo, I'm working on this project with Americo. And I just hit him up on a humble. And he's like, bet, send me something. And, I just picked like two different joints. And like, yo, he came back with it. Then at the end, we did the Return with Crooklyn remix with Sky Zoo also. And it's just like, it's the type of thing where I felt like we got a good contrast between our voices and our styles, but we have that chemistry where it's like, yo, man, it's like he knows what the hell he's doing, I know what the hell I'm doing. So it's like it doesn't really have to be said. Like
Indeed.
we just hear the joint and we understand. We have that understanding, and I love artists like that where it's like
Indeed,
like
indeed.
it's clockwork. It's like one,
Yeah,
two, three,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
you feel the chemistry that's instant when it's there.
Indeed, yeah. Peace to A1, real expert. You know what I mean? And there's so much great stuff here. Peace or bombs, the abnormal to me layering. The way you layered it, though, I'm still trying to figure that out. You know what I mean? Post-truth era, terror, paramilitary troop, school shootings, paramedics, esoteric moves. Like, there's so much stuff in here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very layered work in ideas, thoughts. Even the ideas like Come Too Far. I was really getting into the album, and I had just finished Will Smith's Welcome to Earth, and a lot of the themes about overcoming comfort zones and stuff was in Come Too Far. You know what I mean? And a lot of the works here, like they kind of like make themes and ideas and ideology out of the work that you made out of Hole in My Heart. That's like kind of how I listen to it. You know what I'm saying? It's a very interesting album.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
very interesting.
Well, you know the interesting thing about all these works you're talking about. I was working on them at the same time, so it's like whether you're talking about Alter Ego, Me and Nesma, Hole in My Heart, The World Changed, Denmark. Like I can't even. To me, it's all a blur because I was working on all of them like
Right.
at the same time, basically. But it's funny, man. Piece of Bombs. I know the way I laid the first verse. I just wanted to like paint differently. Like, you know, like use a brush. Like I know the regular, okay, you put the rhyme at the end of the bar. I just wanted to rhyme within the bar, but like intently. Like you say, like I wake up doing internals. I don't even think about internals. It just happens. But this one, I was actually thinking about rhyming, not like rhyming the last word with the first word with the, you know what I'm saying, doing all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of layering here, you know, and you know, his beats they don't overwhelm. They have a lot of space in them. You know what I'm saying? So your voice dominated through the beats. You know what I mean? The way he laid them out.
Right.
You know, but it's just a great album. Man, Napoleon, you always have so much work. I can't even get into all of it in the time that we always have allotted. It's just great work. I think. I know that there isn't an MC that has been this good the last 4 years, you know, as far as quantity and quality put together, you know what I'm saying? And it puts you there all time, you know, somewhere all time in somebody's all-time list. I don't know, we'll do some 75 greatest players and shit, you know what I mean? You got your jacket, you know what I mean? And this is incredible
man, I'm
stuff.
honored, man. Just trying.
We can always listen
Trying
to
to do
the
this at the best of my ability, man. Like I respect this shit, so you know, I do. I'm always trying to push the envelope. You know what I'm saying? I'm never really satisfied. You know, I always think that there's another. Like I said, you climb a mountain, there's another mountain to climb, and I'm always trying to challenge myself. I'm still challenging myself, and you will see this year. Like I'm still trying to challenge myself.
Well, Napoleon, I look forward to it. I root for it. I'm inspired by your work. I'm inspired by, you know, everything that you've shared. You know what I'm saying? And it not only affects me because I get to cover great music, but it affects me personally. That's how good it is. And you know, it's always a thank you to continue to cover your career. Absolutely.
Nah, man. I appreciate you like since the beginning to really. You gave like the fact that you were dissecting what I did also gave me a boost. You know what I'm saying? It gave me some confidence that I was doing the right thing. And like I said, man, I have some more coming. Actually, I got an album coming out in 2 weeks. So y'all gonna have some new music early to 2022.
That's right. It's already here. Oh man, Napoleon, thank you again. You know what I mean? We will continue to build. That's all I can say. We will continue to build, and the tracks go on. Until next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce. For my guest, Napoleon the Legend. For me, and I'm saying it now, one of the greatest MCs ever. I'm your host, Sunyan Zala, a.k.a. S.STREET. And as always, the Power Right Show is a never Respect Fake Broadcast. Peace.